So, the trailer for the Season 2 mid-season of Star Wars Rebels dropped today, and by Jabba was it something spectacular. As always, I'm Cape Joel. We've got a ton of stuff to cover and a very short amount of time to do it, so let's hop right into it. First off, the trailer is predominantly narrated by Ahsoka, who explains in the opening monologue about how to defeat an enemy, you have to first understand that enemy. No doubt she is, of course, referring to the Sith. We can see from this first shot right here that the Jedi have come to some Sith temple. Is this underground? Is this a planet? Is this one of those Sith tombs that they love in the expanded universe? Could this possibly be Korriban? Oh, no, I'm sorry, Moraban, that's right. George got his way on that one, didn't he? Moving on in the trailer, we can see the 7th sister and the 5th brother joined by Darth Vader in what I can only assume is the same place. We've seen very little interaction between these characters, and I like this idea that the second part of Rebels Season 2 will be focusing a bit more on the Sith and the dark side of the Force. Now, of course, fans will remember where Season 2 left off. The Inquisitors had gotten information about where the Rebels were staked out, and they were on their way to go mess them up. We can see all throughout this trailer what looks to be the Rebels and the Rebel fleet kind of pulling out from that attack. Kanan also further goes on in voiceover about how if them as Jedi are continually coming under attack by the Inquisitors, well, they're not doing a good job helping the Greater Rebellion. So I wonder, are we going to see, the crew of the Ghost kind of break up for the second part of this season and go their separate ways? If they did, it certainly would have been foreshadowed. Now, this clip right here I really like. We see a male Twi'lek who introduces himself as Syndulla, which you will know is the last name of Hera. Is this guy her father, her brother, maybe even an ex-husband we didn't know about? Will we maybe get to see the Twi'lek homeworld this season? Will we learn a little bit more about Hera? I certainly hope so. Now, this piece had already been out there in the news, but freaking Princess Leia will be making an appearance in this second half of Rebels, and what I think is awesome about this is that this is a take on Princess Leia that we've never really seen anywhere else. This is a younger princess who really hasn't joined the rebellion yet, even though her father, Bail Organa, is really all about it. She's unsure about herself, and what I think is cool is that she's pretty close to the same age as Ezra. Sadly, unlike Lando, Darth Vader, and even Yoda, who we'll talk more about later, Carrie Fisher could not come back to reprise the voice, but the voice actress that they did get sounds pretty good. Oh, now this is an interesting clip right here. We can see our heroes more or less in free fall out in space. Was their ship exploded? It sure looks that way. There's some blast marks. Next up, we have Sabine shooting it out with some alien monsters. I do love the creature design on Rebels, so I'm glad to see that sort of stuff continue over here into the second part of Season 2. Also, I don't know about you, but I'm really hoping for some more Sabine-focused episodes in the future. I know she kind of got one before, but still, it was just such, scratching the surface of her character. A lot to unpack right here in this clip. We see the two Inquisitors in some sort of temple. Maybe it's the same temple we keep seeing all throughout the trailer, and they are being flanked on all sides by white-clad attackers with their own lightsabers, yellow lightsabers to be exact. We'll see these guys later on in the trailer attacking Kanan, but I guess from here we can make the assumption that whoever these dudes are, they are friend to neither Jedi or Sith. Our next clip is another huge fanboy moment with Ezra talking to Yoda. Now, whether this is Yoda really being there or whether he's using the Force to kind of sort of, astral project himself, I'm gonna guess it's probably the second one. Yoda's talking to Ezra about what it means to be a Jedi and the sacrifices that they have to make. We had heard Yoda's voice in a previous episode, and I think it's great to see him show up in the flesh, more or less, and once again voiced by the totally awesome Frank Oz. Apparently, Ezra's training and kind of his big crossroads that he's reaching as a Jedi will also be a big focus point of the second part of Season 2, and we can see him doing some impromptu Jedi training by surfing on the back of some giant space whale. Star Wars Rebels was, of course, always a really good-looking show, and it seems like the animation has only gotten better in the time between the first part of Season 2 and now the second part. Once again, we get a better look of our Jedi heroes in this Sith temple, and if you look around, you can see what look to be bodies of people turned to ash. That's creepy. Now, this one here really got me excited. Ahsoka is sharing with Ezra some training footage of her master Anakin, who of course became Darth Vader. Ahsoka has been keeping that information very close to her chest, her own personal connection to Darth Vader, and I don't think she can can keep that secret much longer. Now right here we get a much better look at those white-clad guys from before. They live in a samurai-esque temple, they all wear masks, and they seem to have a huge lightsaber collection. Part of me wonders if this new group will play a role similar to what the Night Sisters played in Clone Wars, you know, Force-sensitive people who weren't Jedi and weren't Sith, but were also kind of playing their own game for galactic domination. Now the leader of these guys, or at least I'm going to assume he's the leader, initiates a fight with Kanan, but more than that, he talks about how the boy will be tempted, no doubt talking about Ezra. Temptation and the pull of the dark side seeming to be a major theme reiterated across this trailer. Now, who could possibly ever tempt Ezra to the dark side? Well, we see this mysterious cloaked individual who calls himself the Old Master. Now, we don't get a very good look at him, but those weird yellow eyes, that voice, the fact that if you squint you can kind of see tattoos. Could that possibly be Darth Maul? I mean, remember, Darth Maul was still alive at the end of the Clone Wars, and he was even alive at the end of the tie-in comic Sons of Dathomir. It would only make sense that the guys making this show would want to bring the whole Darth Maul storyline to a conclusion. Now, this next clip here is just funny. It seems like there's a bunch of new villains, and oh look, even Chop gets an arch nemesis in the form of a black, presumably evil astro droid. And speaking of arch nemesis, in this clip right here, we see that Agent Kallus has the drop on Zeb. Now, back in Season 1, they had played with this idea that Agent Kallus's weapon was actually stolen from Zeb's people, and they kind of never went back to that. I would kind of like to see these two, you know, get into a much bigger rivalry and maybe have it out. Moving on from there, we see yet another Inquisitor, looking to be a much more generic Inquisitor with just a mask on his face. Again, remember the 5th brother, 7th sister, their names are the way they are because they don't have names, they're numbers, they're designations, and there's a lot of different Inquisitors out there. In fact, in a bigger shot when we see a bunch of them standing together, there are actually 3. We get ourselves what I can only assume is the beginnings of a showdown between Ahsoka and Darth Vader, made all the more interesting by the fact that the voiceover for this scene is not done in the Darth Vader voice, but done in what can I only assume is an older Anakin voice, wherein he blames Ahsoka for, you know, abandoning him and giving up on him, and that itself leads to a big fight. I cannot wait for this to play out in the show. I think this could be really cool. It's almost like a bit of a flip of the Vader-Obi-Wan confrontation from A New Hope, you know. I think if they're smart, and I wouldn't put it past them to do this, if they did a, hey, when I left you, I was but the student, but now I am the master. And finally, we have this clip right here, a clip that has already had the internet losing its freaking mind, and that is Ezra picking up a cross-guarded lightsaber, not unlike the one Kylo Ren uses during The Force Awakens, only this one is green instead of red. Now, if we look behind him, we can see another charred corpse, so this scene clearly takes place in the same chamber as the temple. Is this some sort of old, forgotten Jedi or Sith weapon? I don't know, I guess we're going to have to watch the second part of Star Wars Rebels Season 2 and see for ourselves, won't we? Well, everyone, that'll just about do it for me. That's the breakdown. I hope you enjoyed it. Down in the comment section down below, tell me what your favorite moments from the trailer was, and what you're personally hoping to see show up in the second part of Star Wars Rebels Season 2. Be sure to keep your eyes peeled to the Cape Joel channel. I will be back again with more reviews, more breakdowns, and more good stuff. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching my newest video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll feel like checking out some more videos I have on offer here at Cape Joel.